The rain hammered against the corrugated iron roof of the diner, a relentless percussion, accompanying the unsettling quiet in Elias Thorne's mind. The lukewarm coffee did little to dispel the chill that had settled deep in his bones, a coldness that had nothing to do with the November Ohio weather. He's been back a week, back from that place but the memories clung like damp cobwebs, difficult to shake. Mr. Silas had been predictably silent since Elias's return, a ghost paying a ghost. Elias traced the rim of his cup, his gaze fixed on the swirling patterns of condensation. He needed to understand what he's seen, what he's experienced off Blackwood Estate. A festering wound on the landscape had been more than a collection of decaying grandeur and forgotten horrors. It had been a gateway, a conduit to something other. A newsboy's voice cut through the diner's low hum. Extra, extra. Blackwood Estate investigation yields no answers. The paper's headline screamed over a grainy photograph of the estate, its darkened windows like vacant eyes. The official story was that the estate was simply abandoned, a casualty of the depression and subsequent neglect. No mention of Alistair Blackwood, the man who had poured his considerable fortune and sanity into the estate's construction. No mention of the harmony. Elias folded the paper with a sigh, the damp newsprint clinging to his fingers. He knew better than to trust the newspapers. He's seen the harmony, the shifting, fractured reality build from the stolen memories and consciousnesses of countless victims. He's seen the fragmented woman, a composite of these stolen lives, a desperate plea for release etched into her distorted features, and he's felt the chilling presence of the caretaker, Alistair's loyal servant, an embodiment of unsettling devotion. A flicker of movement at the diner's entrance caught his eye. A tall, gaunt figure, impeccably dressed in a dark suit, entered, shaking the rain from his coat. The caretaker. He seemed to materialize from the shadows, his unsettling intensity focusing directly on Elias. A shiver traced down Elias's spine, a primal instinct screaming at him to flee. The caretaker approached his booth, a faint, almost imperceptible smile twisting his lips. "Mr. Thorne," he greeted, his voice a low, resonant hum. "I trust you're settling back in nicely." "What do you want?" Elias asked, his voice tight. He's learned that directness was the only language the caretaker seemed to understand. "Mr. Silas wishes to see you. Immediately." The caretaker's eyes seemed to bore into Elias's soul, probing for weakness, for doubt. "He's awaiting your presence at his residence." Elias didn't need to be asked twice. He finished his coffee, the bitter taste lingering on his tongue, and followed the caretaker out into the rain. The caretaker's car, a sleek black Packard, waited at the curb. The silence in the car was oppressive, broken only by the rhythmic swish of the windshield wipers. Mr. Silas's residence was a sprawling Victorian mansion perched on a secluded bluff, overlooking the Ohio River. A house was shrouded in mist, its darkened windows reflecting the gloom like pools of ink. Two silent, uniformed men stood guard at the entrance, their faces impassive. Mr. Silas was waiting for him in his study, a dimly lit room lined with antique books and strange artifacts. The man himself was seated in a plush leather armchair, partially obscured by shadows. He didn't rise to greet Elias, his posture suggesting a weary resignation. "You've returned, Mr. Silas observed, his voice a raspy whisper. "I did," Elias replied, his gaze sweeping the room, searching for any sign of deception. "Did you retrieve the music box?" "Yes. It's here." Elias gestured to a small, velvet-lined box that the caretaker was holding. The silver music box gleamed faintly in the dim light, an almost innocent appearance belying its connection to the harmony. "Mr. Silas nodded slowly. "Good. The music box is a key, a conduit. Alistair believed he could control it, harness its power. He was, of course, tragically mistaken." "What do you want me to do with it?" Elias asked. "Contain it. Ensure it remains silent. That place must never be accessed again." "Why?" Elias pressed. "Why am I the one doing this?" "Mr. Silas sighed, a sound heavy with regret. "Because, Mr. Thorne, you possess a rare immunity. You experienced the harmony, yet you returned. You are, in essence, a safeguard against its influence. And what about you? Why are you so interested in containing it?" "Mr. Silas turned his gaze to the rain-streaked window, his face lost in shadow. "Let's just say I have regrets. Profound regrets. Alistair was a friend, a misguided friend." Suddenly, a low, mournful note resonated from the silver music box, a haunting melody that seemed to vibrate within Elias's very bones. The room plunged into an unnatural cold, and the air shimmered with an iridescent light. "What's happening?" Elias asked, his voice trembling. "He's interfering, Mr. Silas rasped, his eyes wide with a mixture of fear and desperation. "The caretaker," He's trying to reactivate the music box. The iridescent light intensified, and the walls of the study seemed to warp and distort. Elias felt a sickening pull, a sensation of being stretched and compressed. He braced himself, struggling to maintain his balance. "You must destroy it, mister," Silas screamed, his voice barely audible above the rising cacophony. "Destroy the music box, before it's too late." With a surge of adrenaline, Elias lunged forward, grabbing the music box from the caretaker's grasp. He raised it high above his head, intending to smash it against the stone floor. But as he did, he caught a glimpse of the caretaker's face, a mask of unsettling calm, his eyes gleaming with an almost triumphant malice. Then everything went black. Elias awoke on the cold, damp floor of the circular chamber beneath Blackwood Estate. The silver music box lay beside him, silent and inert. The mournful note echoed in his mind, a haunting reminder of the horrors he's witnessed. He looked up to see Mr. Silas standing over him. "What happened?" Elias asked, his voice hoarse. "A precaution," Silas replied quietly. "Unnecessary deception." He offered a faint, sad smile. The caretaker needed to believe you were incapacitated. Elias felt a sudden wave of nausea. Something felt wrong. He examined his hands, noticing the subtle changes of faint luminescence beneath his skin, a feeling of weightlessness. "What did you do to me?" he demanded, his voice laced with suspicion. "Mister." Silas avoided his gaze, his expression unreadable. "I altered your connection, Mr. Thorne. Your immunity needed reinforcement." Elias's eyes scanned the chamber. The circular patterns carved into the stone walls seemed to writhe before his vision. A sense of dread settled deep within him, a feeling that he was not merely containing the harmony, but becoming a part of it. As he focused on Mr. Silas, a fleeting image flashed through Elias's mind, a memory of a conversation, a hidden agenda, a betrayal. He realized with chilling clarity that Mr. Silas wasn't simply trying to contain the harmony, he was using him. The mournful note returned, stronger now, resonating not just in his mind, but within his very being. And as he looked out at the swirling, fractured landscape of the harmony visible beyond the chamber walls, he knew that his fight was far from over. A fight not just against the harmony, but against the man who had entrusted him with its containment.